Well, okay, I'm back and I was able to get it all put on after I took this out of the freezer. It was quick though, and I'm lucky I got the keyway lined up, but I was able to put this on about halfway before it started to get tight. And I anticipated this, and so I brought in my little aluminum piece that I made, and I put it on there, and with a little hammer, I just tap, 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 and I watched it go in, and luckily I had the keyway lined up pretty darn close, and even if it was just a little off, it went, and I tap, 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 tap until it went all the way down, and everything is moving nice. And I guess I didn't explain this earlier, which I wasn't sure I didn't even know it, that this is a one-way bearing. And the manual says, thank goodness I saw that, it says black, oh, let me get the thing right, black facing the gearbox. And luckily I had the black facing the gearbox. But you can see, as you turn this, it locks one way and spins the other way. See how it spins around fine on the bearing, but then the bearing locks and turns the shaft. And that is for when the starter motor is going to be turning this way, and just when it starts up, it goes boom, and then this can go faster. It'll be going faster, so it won't cause a problem once it starts because of the one-way bearing. And then, of course, you stop pushing the button to start it, and then it's running and running and running. Anyway, okay, so we passed that setup. And the next thing, according to the book, is to add this number 75 to get the flywheel on. Number 75 is right in this little hole, and I was able to, I pulled it out just playing around, and I stuck it inside the flywheel here, but there. This is a little expanding ring. I'm not even sure how the darn thing works because it slides on nice, but I tested it and played with it. As you tighten these screws, it somehow squeezes down on this shaft. And it's kind of weird about that. I don't even know how putting screws in here would tighten on that thing. I'm going to have to do a little research to figure that one out. But anyway, it says to put it on there. It says 3 screws are loosened and placed in the crankshaft. Okay, so we got those screws are definitely loose. I can turn them by hand. All right, and so the next page says to install the flywheel. After inserting the flywheel, adjust the gap of the flywheel. Should be at least 0.5 millimeters away from the starter gear. Then slightly rotate and tighten 3 screws until finally locking in again. Frequent fault. Just tighten the first and second ones. Don't tighten all 3? Okay. So let's put this on. We'll see what the gap is once I get this on here. It was fitting nice earlier. There it goes. So they said the gap in here has got to be at least 0.5 millimeter. Let me get my feeler gauges, and we'll see what it is the way it sits. Okay, so I've got, let's see, the top one's a thick one. These other ones are really thin. There's 0.01, 0.03. Let's just see if it, 0.08. Let me unloosen this here. 0.07, 0.06. Well, heck, this is like nothing, a 0.05. It's a skinny little guy. Oops. Yeah, 0.05. Well, that's definitely that. Let's actually see what it is. Let's kick it up. Let's see if it's 10. Yeah, it's easily 10. So I think we're fine. They just said to make sure it was at least that. That is really easy. This thing is far enough away. So I think we can continue to go. It says it must be at least 0.5. All right, so there it is. And we have to tighten. Let's get an Allen wrench out here. I think it's, what size is that? Oh, that's a good size one. I think maybe it's, is it this one? Yeah. Frequent fault. Just tighten the first and second ones. Fine, okay. So let's just see. We'll tighten a little bit that one. And a little bit that one. And I think I'm just going to bring that up snug there. Did that? Wow, that held it right there. I'm going to go a little bit more there. Oops, it popped out. And we'll go with this one. Okay. Well, that held it on there. Wow. All right. I still don't know how it's doing that, but it did. It swelled out there and holding fine. Oh, except it really pinched something on the shaft. Now the bearing's not working. What is going on with that? Let me back these back out here. I bet maybe I can't have this guy too close. It's not just here, it must be down there. That's where it really matters. Okay, I gotta be away from the bearing. I bet you it swells out there. Yeah. Okay, so the bearing is turning. Oh, this is turning fine, but the flywheel is locked. All right, let's loosen these up. I think I understand what they mean now. It's not necessarily the gear. And now it's like jammed pretty good. Let me see if I can get this worked on and I'll bring you back. Okay, I got a little better Allen wrench on these things. Something I could actually hold on to. And I got them nice and tight. I got this inner piece just pulled out a teeny bit so it's not right up against the bearing. And then I started tightening them up. And sure enough, the bearing slides nice this way and then locks fine. See, so I can turn the whole thing and then stop, and then turn the whole thing and then stop. So yeah, it works pretty good now. So it slips. You can see the gear holding, it's tightening this way. So that's doing exactly what it was supposed to do. Yeah, there. Okay. So we are past the flywheel is working. Now, the next thing, it looks like it's this oil filter. So install the oil filter element. It is recommended to add a magnet and sponge filter internally. I'll have to think about finding a magnet and also finding some sponge material to put in there. But for now, I think I'll find the parts and just put it together right here. And then I'll come back later and take the cover off and put some filter material. I've seen people online kind of do a spongy looking material, something that's porous enough to let the fluid through but hold any chips and stuff. And I guess the magnet's nice if it's got steel particles in there. Okay, hang on a minute, let me get the parts. All right, I believe I found all the parts. And okay, so anyway, this one, I got the cover, number 66. Number 60 is pointing to this screw thread right here. This is a little threaded rod. It is recommended to apply a low intensity anaerobic glue. Hell, I don't know what that is, but I'll stick just some on the screw thread. I think it was meant to screw it down into the base and hold it there. I guess I'll use some Loctite on that. And they're pointing at this rod here. It says there's a blue mark up there. Well, it has a blue mark, okay. I think they said they wanted to mark one with blue so you didn't get confused with taking this one here that isn't marked in blue. And they look identical, except it's longer. So, yeah, that one is 51. So I haven't seen a place yet where 51 is being used. So anyway, I guess that one will go into this little hole right there. Don't know if I guess you don't put anything into that hole. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is stick some Loctite on here for the bottom part of the thread. There, that's quite a bit. We probably don't need that much. I'll just scoot it around on the threads. Okay. And it just hand tightens right in there fine. There. Wipe off a little bit of the top. Okay. So by tomorrow that'll be sealed up. And let's put this guy in like that. You can see. Looks to be about the same height as the screw. I guess there's a, oh yeah, down inside here, if I can get the tipping of it right. Maybe I'll use the flashlight. Yeah, there's a little threaded nubbin sticking out. Okay. And let's see, this guy goes in to where it sits. I think I'll flip it just in case later they expect me to put something in that other hole. There, and down it goes. Down into the hole. Here, perfect. All right, I don't know why. Unless they expected me to put that other rod in there, but they're not showing that. Okay. So later I will see about putting some kind of a filter in here, but for right now I think I'll just, oh yeah, it's hooked. I can't pull it out, so I'll just lightly tighten it for right now. There. Huh. Did they plan that so that this Cison label would be shown? Who knows? Okay, there it is. All right, so the next step is dealing with the pistons and the rings. That's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna get my addendum here because we talked about some part of the piston. Please, it says, please install the upgraded chamfered piston ring in the second piston groove as shown. So they must have developed a different ring ahead of what they used to do, because there's a little chamfer, a little angled cut on one of the rings. So let me see if I can pull the rings out. So I must get a regular ring up here, the specialized chamfer ring, and then the sealer ring down below. I think that's an oil seal ring. And it has a chamfer that must go up. So I'll be back with the parts, and we'll see about putting these on the pistons. Okay. Okay, so I've got everything, all the O-rings here, all the piston rings. I went ahead and installed one to just get some practice with one here. It's interesting here. So the top ring is not the specialized one. That has no chamfer on the top. the second one down, if you can see, they've got a little light grinding on it, and that's the chamfer right there, that silver section. So that goes up. And the instructions say here for the oil ring, please note that the chamfer direction of the oil ring faces the top of the piston, and installation in the opposite direction is prohibited. And they show a little chamfer there, and they even show one down below. However, I looked and looked at this oil ring, and I cannot see a chamfer on it at all. I've looked with a magnifying glass in the darn thing, and I do not see one on this ring. There's no grinding spot or anything. So I have no other choice but to just install it. And so we'll have to see if that's something they used to do, is chamfer the oil ring, but maybe they shifted to chamfer just the second ring down from the top, and they stopped doing this, but they didn't update it in the book. Well, anyway, we're gonna put them on the way you know, the only other option I got. So this is the second ring, so we'll put this guy on and get him down, work it around into the groove there. Okay, so there's the second ring, and you can see the chamfer is up. Okay, and now we'll put the other one on. There, and there's the other one is on. And the oil ring, we're just gonna have to scoot it on up the way it is. I don't see a chamfer, and we'll try to get that on up in here. Oh, they're tight. Boy, I'm just terrified of breaking one. Okay, so I get one started, and oh, it just popped right on in. Okay, so I'm gonna do all of them this way. And you see how the two upper rings have the groove next to each other. That needs to be 180 degrees around, and I'll make sure that before I put it in. So I have the top piston, or top ring with the groove lined up with that hole. And over here, the other second piston down is lined up with the other hole. And I think for the oil ring, I'll just turn it 90 degrees. Where is it? There it is. It already is 90 degrees from the piston hole. And that's the way I'll put it together. Okay, I got a few pistons to ring up, and I'll be back. Okay, so off camera, I took all of the piston rods before I connected them and test fit them to the crank rods right here, to the crankshaft. And I kept them in order here, and they all felt fine. They all felt like they weren't too tight, so I didn't need to use the shims. I've already put in half of the pistons, and that was a fun little job, which I'll show you how to do at least one piston, because it takes a little bit of time. But if I flip it over here, you can see I have the pistons, 4 of them in. Anyway, so the next set I'll put in, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be 5 and 6 that will go in. And you have to have a couple of things in mind on this. Again, they want this little hole. If you can see, there's a little oil hole right here, which feeds oil to this side, and this bottom hole feeds oil to this side. They want this facing up, like when it's around like this, they want it facing up. So you have to remember that when you put these in. And so that's one thing to remember. And then the other thing is this little groove that's cut right here. See if I can get that in there. There's a little milled groove right there. Those have to stay lined up. You can't take this and have it reversed around and get it backwards, or the diameter might not be right. Okay, so there's the two things we have to pay attention about the piston rod when it goes in. The other thing is where the rings go. I've been trying to put the ring openings, let's say this guy, I've been trying to put those right here at the joint. So there's the one, you can see that one ring is facing there. And then I flip it over, and this ring, the top ring, is opposite, 180 degrees. It's facing the other side. And so then I try to put the oil ring halfway in between all of those. So it's facing crisscross the other way, 90 degrees. That way you don't get, you don't want the ring gaps all in line with each other. Okay, so we're gonna take this. I've got the piston here to put in. So let's flip this over, and we'll put him in right over here. I gotta get some of my slippery engine assembly oil in the piston here. In the sleeve, there. And then let's take this off. So I have to take this off here, the lower part of the connecting rod. Okay, did I get it? Nope, there's still some hanging in there. Probably this one. There. Okay, so I'll set that off to the side. Okay, so sitting upright like this, the oil ring goes up. The oil hole goes up. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to lube is the arm bottom here, so it gets some grease on that side. And then I'm going to do the whole piston rings. And then we'll realign them if we need to after we get this all on here, before I can get them pushed in a little bit more. There. Okay, good. Get my hands all clean. All right, so we make sure that we're upright and the hole is up, and I line it straight down the hole. So there you can see I've got the piston rod hole up, and we're going to set it in now. There. Okay, so now let me get my hands cleaned up. Okay, so now the first thing is that lower ring. I need to make sure it is in the 90-degree spot rather than straight across where the other rings are. And let's get the thing here. Where is it? Okay, it's where did that ring opening go? That's so strange, I can't see it. Oh, no, that's a hole. Oh, there it is. It turned itself clear around. How would it have done that? I think it's right here. No, that's just a hole. My goodness, where is it? I got so much oil on it, I can't see it. Let me take it back out and take a look. I can't see where I put that. Oh, there it is. It did roll on me when I did that. I can see it's facing up right here. So I need to turn this whole thing around. Wow. Let's turn it this way. Yeah, it's not turning very well. Okay, there. All right, let's put it back in. Okay, there it is. is. It's now facing up towards me. Can you see the opening right there? It's right facing up, that lower oil ring. Okay. Now, this is the fun part. I have to kind of look in there and make sure I have the arm right. See, it's a little bit turned. I'm going to turn it again there. See it turning? Got to keep it flat right like that. Okay. And so the first ring is there, and I have to squeeze it. My little piston ring squeezer, which is what I was wanting to use, I just can't keep it soldered. It just breaks. It broke off the other end. It's just hard to silver solder it to stainless steel and the brass wire here, rods. And so I'm going to just do it manually. And if you can see, I can squeeze that ring with my fingernails, but I then have to try to get it to push in at the same time. There. Okay, that first ring I got in. It's squeezed and it's down. So now I need to make sure the other rings are in the proper spot, or the next ring. And there's no gap there. This top ring, there's the gap right at the top. It's so difficult for you to see it, maybe without the flashlight. Okay, well, I can see the bottom ring is okay, the one that we're working on next. You see where it is? Right there. So I'm going to turn it just a little bit. Okay, so there it is. Now we have to squeeze it and push it in again. So I'm going to squeeze it down and get it to go. There. All right, it's down. And now if we flip it over, the other ring is turned a little bit. It is right over here a little bit. And so I'll turn it. You can hardly see it from the camera, but I can see it fine. And so I'll do the same thing now. I've got to squeeze it and try to push that piston in. This is really tough to do. There it goes. Okay, I got it. Now we have to look, and I can see the whole thing is turned a little bit. Let me see if you can see down in there. Yeah, you can see that thing needs to turn to get it squared up to everything. So I have to use tweezers to try to get down in there to turn it. Let's try this way. Oh boy, that's tough. That is tough. Oh, it turned even worse now. I went the wrong way. I'm going to see if I can't push it up a little bit to get it better grip on it. Now you can see it needs to be turned quite a bit. And every time I try, it's still crooked. Maybe I can't get a hold of it to do. Oh, there, I just pushed it. I just pushed on the one side and it turned. Okay, so there it is. Now, which side of the thing does it need to go on? Okay, there. Lay it against there, and I'll see if I can't push it up. Now, where is it? This hole. There. There, I got it. Okay, there it is. All right, so now I need to put a little more lube on the top here. There. Okay, now we have to look for that mark on the thing. And I don't see it there. There it is. The little cut happens to be facing up, and it's right there, right here. It's difficult to see it, but there's a little cut right there. So now I know when I set it down, it is on the right side facing that way. So I have to find it here. There it is. You can see the little cut right there. So I put it on the right side and turn it facing away. Okay. So now I can start the screws down. There's one started, and there's the other started. Get that all the way just snugged up, and we'll get the other one snugged up. Okay, I'm gonna flip it around a little bit here so I can get to it, and we'll try to tighten the top one. I'm gonna keep it from the thing turning. There. I don't want the crankshaft to rotate on me while I'm pushing down. There. Okay, there it is. And now we have to do the other one on this side, this guy. That'd be piston number 135246. Piston number 6. Okay, would be this guy next over here. Anyway, that's the way you got to do it, and all the way down to get them all in. A little bit of fiddling, but it works. We can get them in. I'll get you back when I'm all done with that. Well, the next thing, according to the book, after we've done all the pistons and all, is the oil pan. However, I'm glad I remembered that there is an addendum here that we talked about at the very beginning. We've already done the piston ring addendum, and now this one is the oil pan cover. So we want to put this on before we cover it. So I'll take the book out of here. And what does it say here? It says first A, let's start over here where you can see it. Assemble the crankshaft bearings, and mounting bolts correctly according to the manual. Okay, we did that with the connecting rods and pistons. Next, remove the mounting bolts for the 3 brass bearings in the middle of the crankshaft. Do not rotate the crankshaft during this process to avoid shifting the mounting holes for the brass bearings. Okay, so what that means is they want me to remove these 3 upper bolts. They're the ones that are the bolts are just barely going into the brass there to keep that whole entire thing from turning. Which, by the way, back at one of my other videos, this center one was locking up the whole engine, and it was because it had rotated on me. I have since then fixed it. I've had to undo the 2 bolts here and square the thing back up, put this back on, and re-Loctite and tighten those back up. So it is back fixed. So that's why it is fully tight here, and yet the crankshaft, I don't want to turn it right now because I've got all the pistons and everything in, and it's tough to turn. So here is the part that's supposed to go here. According to the drawing, the little chamfer cut right here, it goes next to the oil pump, which is right there. So that will sit right on here like that when we do it. So it says, so after we remove those, open the oil pan cover and place it in position shown with the 3 bolts. Oh, wait a minute. Next, remove the mounting bolts for the 3 brass bearings in the crankshaft. Do not rotate the thing. Do not rotate the crank. Okay, then open the oil pan cover and place it in position for the 3 bolts you just removed. Then using the 3 bolts provided in the bag. Okay, so these bolts here in the bag, they must be just a teeny bit longer to take up the distance that this thickness is. So we're going to use those 3 bolts back here in the 3 positions. And then it says secure 2 of the 3 removed bolts into the oil pan cover hole. So that's these 2, one up here and one down here. So we will use the shorter bolts back into those. All right, so let's do it. So we're going to not rotate anything. We'll remove this first bolt. You can't see it very well, but there it is. And the next one is here. Oh, great, it fell down. There it is. And we'll try not to let that go inside again. And this one, I'll tip it to the side. There. Okay, so this then goes here. Boy, I hope that is going to be nice and those little piston rods don't hit it. All right, so now let's pull out, let's move those so I don't confuse them with these. There. All right, get one of the little longer bolts. There, and then we'll put that in here. Okay, come on, there. And I won't tighten it yet, there. And this one, get on there. Oh shoot, it did the same thing. There. Boy, I'm glad it doesn't go down all the way in through that stuff. All right, let's try that again. Holding it there. All right, next, last one here. There. And I think I'll go ahead and take one of these old bolts and go ahead and get the front and the back going. There. Okay, nothing is tight yet. They're just in position. There. Okay. It does move a teeny bit, but not bad. Let's tighten that one. And we'll tighten this one. And we'll go down through the 3 longer ones. Snug those up. There. And there. Okay, so now it says manually, there we are, manually rotate the flywheel to ensure smooth operation and that the connecting rods do not touch the cover. If contact occurs, the installation direction may be incorrect. Check the alignment accordingly. Okay, we still have the chamfer towards that. All right, let's see what we get when we rotate it. Wow, look at that one. It just passes through fine. That one did the same. That one did the same. Okay. One thing to remember here as you rotate these things, don't let the sleeves be pushed up. When I was building this the first time and putting in the first few pistons, and I thought, let's see how those work, and I'm turning it, one of these sleeves went whoop and popped up, and I didn't catch it in time, and when I turned it, the piston went back down, and the rings popped out on the inside, and there was no way for me to push this sleeve back down. I had to disconnect the rod and pull the whole thing out, put the sleeve back in, and start over. So you want to make sure when you rotate this, you're going to hold your hand across those to keep those from coming out. Anyway, there it is.